2019 is gone and now it's 2024. We played quite a few games in 2023 here. So as usual, we're doing our annual top 10 games of the year that I played. Not just new games, but any game we played on the channel. Here are all the contenders. You can try predicting if you want, but also I want to see your game of the year. So leave it in the comments. That could be some that I haven't checked out. Again, doesn't have to be a new game, just a game you played this year. But I want to try to keep this a little bit short this time. So thank you so much for joining me. Hope you're doing well, staying safe and sound. Happy New Year's, and go get the MythyMoo merch. It's over there. You can check it out. Right, so of course we're going to start at number 10. And on number 10, I have put Wolong Fallen Dynasty. When I played this, or when I was looking forward to playing this, I for sure thought this was going to be top 3. And it's not on number 10 because it's a bad game or anything, but we played a surprising amount of really good games that I enjoyed. For me though, Wolong had one of the best and most satisfying combat systems of the year. It's very simple, but the whole dodging into parries and deflects with the sound effects and movement and stuff, it just felt so sick. Apart from that though, it did feel like a Neo 2 reskin, and Neo definitely had more depth in terms of different builds and stuff. And again though, Sekiro is one of my favorite games of all time, and I liked Wolong in that same way, where when you play the game like you're supposed to, it clicks and it feels amazing. But apart from a few bosses and the amazing designs, it wasn't too special. Though I really did enjoy it, and I haven't played DLC either. So yeah, a solid game, and I'm looking forward to Rise of the Ronin this year. But let us move on to number 9. On number 9, I have put Bleak Faith Forsaken. Yet another game I wished was literally number 1. This game had the potential to be a gemstone, in my book of games at least, because this game wins the best world design of all of this. Not even just this year, like I won't say the best in the entire world ever, but I won't lie, it's up there for me. Just walking around not knowing what you're gonna see next, but you know it's gonna be sick because everything in the game is just built and handcrafted to fit this aesthetic that I've been craving in games. We're in this mega structure and you explore so many different areas, from sky temples to underwater with giant robotic serpents, and every moment I got to these places and saw the designs of the enemies, I had that special feeling that I felt when I was a kid playing video games and just really soaking in the wonder of what I'm looking at. It's just so refreshing, and I want a properly budgeted game like this, because man, the combat did not feel good. Now, you could definitely get used to it, and I'm sure it's been improved a lot by now. But even then, unless they like rework the entire thing, it can't really be done. But even if this game just felt like Lords of the Fallen, I think it would have been top 3 for me, because holy fuck, the rest is just so immaculate. But it's just dragged down by poor optimization, unfun enemies, boss fights. It was a little bit sad, but I still really like this game, and I want to give it another shot at some point. But at the same time, I can't really go back and experience what I did the first time again. But yeah, so memorable. My mind, like I know almost the world in my head right now. So I'll be critiquing these games a lot right now. There were actually entries that I wouldn't even critique this hard, but that's because I think these games push to be something more than a simple fun game. It's like different kind of levels. I love all these games, don't worry about it. Moving on to number 8, Remnant 2. I'm really glad this made top 10 because I think it's just a better version of the first game. It really could be a reskin because it just feels the exact same, just with better graphics and a lot more content and guns and whatnot. But the double class system and the fun variety in builds made it so much more fun. And of course the co-op element, playing with the boys, makes for some precious memories that I'm glad I made into videos. And I like how it feels like an MMO while being a co-op and also single player game. And I both liked and disliked the whole very RNG dependent drops, in terms of like you can just not get an amulet or ring if you don't join someone else's game, because it pushes for interacting with others, but it becomes joining someone and immediately leaving when you see they don't have what you need. But I really liked it, and it deserves a spot here. Number 7. On my number 7, I've put Tears of the Kingdom. Once again, another game I wish or thought was going to be on top 3, but all this proves is that just like we got so many good games this year. These could all honestly be contenders depending on what games they're up against. And yeah, I like Tears of the Kingdom. I actually prefer it over Breath of the Wild, but it would have been 20 million times better if Breath of the Wild wasn't the exact same game. And Nintendo has already realized this, and they know this. They can't do another open world Zelda game. It just won't work. The same way FromSoft would have to do something fucked up to make Elden Ring 2. I'd much rather we just get like 20 fucking DLC packs for that game and then let them move on and work on other projects and, you know, give us more Sekiro type game is what I'm saying. And I'll say the same to Nintendo. I really hope that they go back to the more linear stuff, but then really refine the elements that are in those. And I have always throughout all these videos said that I hate open world games. I don't see the point. The only games that have made me see that point is literally Breath of the Wild and Elden Ring. But it requires such an insane amount of effort that even when you put in that effort and more, there are still points where it feels like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and Elden Ring all have that little but much less than every other open world game I've ever played. Yeah, are you over there? You sit there and you think about what you've done. But yeah, Tears of the Kingdom, fantastic game. And honestly, just the sheer spectacle of the ending sequence, which took like fucking half an hour, I feel like, was just, it was so good. I was sat there playing at like fucking 6 AM and I was just feeling things. That's the kind of magic we need from Nintendo. It doesn't have to be this scale, but these kind of wondrous moments. Of course, all the mechanics and the building, and the fact you can go on sky islands and stuff. It's all so good. So yeah, definitely deserves to be here in the top 10 or top 7, but there were just too many good games this year, so let's move on to number 6. On number 6, I've put Blasphemous 2. Just a lovely game, just a better version of the first one. This is already the 3rd sequel that's just come in and just been better than the previous game, and we need that. I mean, what can I say? The world is so beautiful, the pixel art refined, music's top tier, combat feels nice and stiff.
What do you mean by that?
I meant to say precise. It's still like heavy feeling. It's no Hollow Knight, but it feels really good. And I just love the unique setting, because there's certain folklore and mythologies that we're very used to. So it's just nice to see some more representation for other stuff. And we need more of every kind. Give me a goddamn Danish game about potatoes and shit. But yeah, the designs of bosses, enemies, NPCs in this game are so fucking amazing. And every time I do these, I realize just like, I love so many things. And they're so different, all of them. And the hard work shines through in these situations. So Blasphemous definitely deserves the spot here on number 6. Number 5. I have put Pizza Tower. This is almost like an outlier on the entire list, but it also isn't. This game has some of the best music this year has seen, some of the goofiest art plus gameplay, and it's a goddamn masterpiece. Let's just be honest here. Nice tight controls, extremely reminiscent of old school Wario that I actually once played for some reason when I was younger, so when I saw this, it just felt sick. Also mixed with some old school Sonic. Overall, the entire feel and aesthetic and the fun boss fights, fun combat, fun running, and all the silly little guys everywhere. These kind of games are always fun and I need more of them, and 100% deserve the spot on number 5. Like, just listen to the music right now. It just slaps my ass. Moving on to number 4. On my number 4, I have put Lords of the Fallen. Now, this is a game I was actually scared to be hyped for, but I hoped for the best, and in my opinion, it did deliver in a lot of areas. It's under the curse of being so high quality that it's judged as if it's a AAA game. And with a price like that, and with the team as big as it is probably, it definitely should. But I do think that a lot of the criticism towards it is a little bit too harsh, or rather, people overshadow the good with the bad, as always. I don't really give a shit, everyone's valid. I'm just saying, I enjoyed this game. The combat definitely wasn't the best, and the optimization kind of sucked my ass a little bit. But when this game hits, it fucking slaps you up. This game's boss fights at their peak was so nice. The designs of everything was actually top tier, and we need more. The lantern mechanic was so insane. The amount of variety in weapons was great. Though do so you can reroll more. Like, that's one of my gripes with the game. But man, exploring the areas and seeing how good visually it looks, but then doubling up while also having to design the entire world with different stuff is something we've rarely seen and definitely never seen in this capacity. It's not perfect, but it's like the first stepping stone towards utilizing Unreal Engine 5 and really seeing what we can do with this. And that's what I mentioned earlier. I'm criticizing these games more than I probably would of some of the other ones that didn't make the top 10, because a lot of the games on this list took a step to try to go further and experiment, and I love it. You take these leaps to make progress, and it shows a lot of the time, and sometimes it doesn't, you know? Sometimes you make a game where you gotta level a stat to get more iframes, and then you gotta fight like a big dragon that for some reason like smacks you up in one hit. That doesn't make any sense, and it also has like infinite amount of health, and it just sucks overall, and you actually start hating the game a little bit, but then you realize that like they're actually trying to do something new, you know? Yeah, they went from like a really kind of linear game, but like kind of open-ended, to like this giant world, and then like 3 sick DLCs. Well, sick would be an overstatement, because some of the DLC bosses actually kind of suck. Dark Souls 2 walked so Elden Ring could run, is all I'm saying. I think it's actually a very smart and bold decision to make a game within an already kinda niche genre that's getting more mainstream with the release of Elden Ring and now Lords of the Fallen, which is the notorious Souls-like, and knowing that that has a fan base that likes what they like, but then throwing in your own shit on top of it, and it's so good. If the game is fun, I'm happy. And that is called Lords of the Fallen has very high highs and pretty damn low lows. But those highs elevated for me and peak a little bit above some of the other games, while unfortunately the other 80% is just kind of there. An overabundance of enemies, limited respec and customization, terrible optimization at some points, and the balancing definitely wasn't the best either, which then becomes worse when you realize that you can only respec a couple times a run. But man, the music, the bosses, the areas, exploration in both realms, seeing what monstrosities you'll find next, the different variety in the world, it's all stuff that deserves top 4, and I'm actually now excited for what they put out next. Moving on to the top 3 now. 3 games that I think will have a lasting impact on me, and games that I'll be like, yeah, other games in this genre will have to like kind of live up to that for me to be like, yeah, this game is fucking incredible. And we're starting out on number 3 with Ultra Kill. We started playing this game at the very start of this year, and we obviously haven't finished it because not all chapters were out at that point. And there's more stuff out now, but I'm just waiting a little bit more for even more to come out. But Ultra Kill is probably one of my favorite FPS games of all time. Only other ones that are close is like Halo campaigns and maybe Modern Warfare 2. But this is a different beast. This is single player FPS. I don't really do that unless it's Ultra Kill. This game is just balls to the wall, flying around, shooting people, sliding up and down, finding 7 million secrets, doing secret missions. You go into a fucking visual novel, you go into a Crash Bandicoot level, all while having some simple yet extremely satisfying weapon choices, healing when you get soaked in the enemy's blood, or listening to just incredible music. It actually just has it all. And this is one of the games that actually tries to do a lot of stuff and just succeeds in every aspect of the entire thing. I'm trying to think about bad things about this game, but I can't because it's everything it's wanting to be and more. It has a very familiar yet unique feeling to it, kind of like Portal when it first came out. It has that freedom, that out of bounds feeling, because you really are just free to do whatever, and if you do explore and do look for stuff for like 15 minutes per map after all the enemies are dead, chances are you'll probably find something. And I've mentioned this so many times, I keep saying this. If I was a game dev, I wouldn't give a shit about anything, I would just add secrets, because I know the feeling of finding those for the players, and it's just so fun. Intricate or not, secrets and Easter eggs can bring a whole community together to talk and share things with each other, and I just, it's best. And this is not even to mention how like dark the entire storyline is, and the world and lore itself. I don't want to spoil anything at all, so if you haven't played it, go play it or watch my videos on it. Very highly recommend this for anyone who likes FPS games, and it 100% deserves the spot on number 3. Moving on to number 2, and on number 2 I have put Lethal Company. The little rat sneaker coming in at the very end of the year, blowing the entire goddamn world away with just some of the most fun co-op gameplay of all time in gaming as a whole. I don't think that's an exaggeration. I think the first couple of weeks playing this game with your friends without knowing shit was an unmatched feeling that you probably felt as well if you did that. This is one of the only times where you see a YouTube title being like best co-op game ever made, and it's not even hyperbole, they're not lying. It's just pure fun. Proximity chat. Give us that in every goddamn game ever made. If Phasmophobia and Phasmophobia-like games didn't have that, it'd just be a bad game. The content could be Gmod Flatlands. Add one car and proximity chat, it's automatically a 5 out of 10. I'm by no means saying this is objectively one of the best co-op games ever, because I don't gotta state obvious facts, but man am I glad I recorded the first few times I played this with my friends, and since it came out, I've made, what, like 38 videos on this? I'm gonna have such a blast looking through those videos again in the future, and all developed by one person. And I'm just very happy that we're seeing updates for Lethal. I hope they actually get a little team going. Maybe not to help with developing ideas because they want it to be their own thing, but just to kind of help development and production. But yes, this deserves spot number 2 and also deserves one of the funniest co-op games ever without even needing to try. And now, of course, before we move on to number 1, you've probably all guessed by now, it's Smite, but I have some honorable mentions and games that I didn't play for videos that I just played in my free time, and my top anime. I don't know, I'm just gonna throw everything in this video. So honorable mentions. First of all, Wild Hearts. Surprisingly, I actually had a lot of fun with this game. It's already completely dead, no one plays it, and servers are going down, but I thought the game was actually pretty fun. I did like I did with Monster Hunter World, and I just played through the entire campaign, did every monster at least once, and then moved on with life. Like, it was just a good time. Hi-Fi Rush was a game that I feel like maybe should have been on the list, but this is a very subjective list, but I do think that this is like one of the better quality games of this year. It was as it should be. It was so fucking fun. The whole combo with the beat is cool. Love that it gets a little silly in there. The whole comic-y art style, of course, is always nice, and the game just felt really good and had really, really good music. Wild Frost is another game that I actually did play just once on the channel, but then put, I think, wait, let me see how many, 91 hours into this year. This was my go-to game for when I was bored and just wanted to chill or watch some videos or something. I really, really loved this game. Another one I did again was Across the Obelisk, Slay the Spire, and Outward. Highly recommend all of those. They're really fun. Dead Space 3. I wish this was higher, but like, it's just not close to as good as 1 and 2. But playing through with me was so fun, and I love the video I made on that game. Like, that, you should go check that out. Probably one of my favorite videos of the year. Neon White. There's another game that probably maybe could have made it to top 10 because it's my favorite speedrun slash parkour game, but it was, as I was talking about again earlier, it kind of just is that, and it didn't do anything extremely new. It's just a game that feels good, has incredible music, and you just kind of play around with it. And finally, on the honorable mentions, we have Eternal Return. I still play this game religiously. It was my top game of the year. I think 40-something% of the year was me playing this game, like on Steam. I'm not kidding. Like, look, right there. I made a video where I did 1,000 hours on it. I'm almost at 1,500 now. It's a MOBA battle royale with an extremely high learning curve, and I love it. So many different characters, so much shit being added all the time, and another big season starting soon. This sounds like an ad or something. It's not, alright? I just love this game, and I really do want to support the devs. They put so much work into this, and if you play in EU, go download it, start queuing, get good, and then we can play in normals, because we need more people playing this game in EU still. And then just for fun, let's do my favorite anime of the year. I didn't watch a lot, but some of my favorites were, of course, Vinland Saga Season 2, one of my top anime of all time, the Attack on Titan finale, one of my favorite anime of all time, and of new ones, I really highly recommend Frieren. If you haven't watched that, go check it out. It's not just some fantasy isekai thing, it's a lot better. And I don't know why this anime is not more popular yet. Heavenly Delusion. Check that shit out, man. I keep saying it every time it comes up. Just watch that show. Or at least watch the opening. It's one of the best openings of this year as well. Okay, let's move on to the list that, you know, the top 10 list we're doing. Number 1. On number 1 is, of course, Lies of P. From this list, I don't think it could have been any other game. This game blew me away. I was excited for this game, but it delivered beyond what I was excited for. I think I've played so many Souls-likes that I don't really associate it with feeling like Souls games, but more of the concept, so I don't really care if it's not like a Souls game. What I'm saying is, I wasn't disappointed in any way that it isn't exactly like another game, because if I gotta be honest with you, I think I like this game more than Dark Souls. This game has such a unique feeling to it. It has so many elements combined, like old dark fairy tale, of course combined with Pinocchio, with that dark spin on it, but then also creating their own world with robots, monstrosities, experiments, all tied together with some incredible boss fights, amazing weapons, incredible yet simple combat, nice extra mechanics and Ashes of War type things, beautiful world and visuals, and oh my fucking god, one of the best parts of this game, the music. This game could not even come close to achieving this feeling to it without its music, especially the vinyls. Like, it's just, I still listen to that. And for once, since I guess Elden Ring, a Souls game that made me care about the characters and little side stories and side characters. All NPCs you come across, you can immediately get an emotional connection to, and that's only achievable by good writing and nice voice acting. A lot of them were just simple backtrack missions, but they were fun enough to do and rewarding in just doing them. That's what I love about Souls-like games. Even if you don't get a weapon or spell or whatever you want from a boss, you have been blessed in this quest by having a good boss. You know, if I get a boss fight out of it, I don't care about the reward. Like, I went there because I wanted to see if I could get another fight or get another song, fight some new enemies. I can safely say that this game is probably my favorite Souls-like game now, like non-FromSoft game, and I very highly recommend it for anyone who likes action RPGs. It's not without flaws as always, but when that game is peaking so much all the time, I'm willing to overlook a lot of shit. And that's not even that much shit either. But yeah, I'm so hyped for DLC for this game, and I'm hyped that they're already confirming sequels. I love the twist at the very end of the game. Don't want to spoil it, but I love the way they just opened 20 million new doors for new games, for new concepts, whatever they want to do. I'm there. I'm playing it. But that concludes this year's top 10 list. Hope you guys enjoyed and hope you guys had a good 2023. And even if you didn't, I hope you have a good year this year and will join me for many more games. You know, I still daily upload. Don't know for how much longer, but yeah, there's a ton of sick games coming out and I would love to see you there. If anyone cares, I had a very nice year again. Going on vacation with family, just hanging out with friends, playing all these amazing games, and I couldn't ask for more. So thank you all so much for supporting me throughout the years. Speaking of support, please leave a like. I really appreciate it. Leave a funny comment as well, or with your game of the year in the comments down below. Check out my Twitter, second channel, stream merch, links are in the description. Of course, subscribe if you're new around here, and as always, my name is Myth, and thanks for watching.